And we are live. Yay! Who is in the house? Who is in the house? We are live. Hello. My name is Boku Imokwede, and welcome to the Thriving Through Commitment Summit. I'm glad to have you here, and we are kicking this summit off right now. So, if you're here and you're here alone, I'm going to address that shortly. Okay, this is a 2-day event and it's happening live here today and tomorrow between 6 to 8 p.m. And what are we doing? What are we here for? We are looking at the family as a whole. We are looking at whether you're married or single, you're raising kids, you're intending to marry. As long as you're part of a family, this is where you should be. And go get everyone that you know is part of a family. That probably is everyone. What are the things we're going to be doing or covering? We're going to be covering a number of things. We're going to be unpacking parental norms and expectations. And you're going to be meeting our speakers shortly. What else are we doing? We're going to be walking the path together. What does that even mean? Well, you have to wait to see. Wait to hear it. I'm not going to give anything away. We're also going to be looking at conflict management. We're going to be looking at culture and communication. What has culture got to do with communication? And like I said, I'm not giving anything away. I would like to keep that suspense going on all through. And I said it before, if you're married and you're here alone, come on, guys. You need to get your spouse and still send them the link. Tell them, darling, log in. There's something I want you to see, or there's something I just want you to listen to. And if they're not able to log in, you know what you can do? Go and play this YouTube, just play the video somewhere that you can put it on full blast and everyone can hear you. I'm going to come to people who are commenting. I can't see the comment just yet, but I will be coming to you shortly. Another thing is, if you're not married, I want to tell you, you've got the best time ever. I wish I had this. I wish I had all this knowledge before I got married. So if you're not married, this is your chance, because there's so much for us to learn in the next 2 days. If you've got a fiancé, come on, it's a no-brainer. Just get them in here. This is a program that will be touching on the keys that couples need to know about before they get into marriage, and even when they're in. If you want a successful home, a home full of bliss, or you just want to improve yourself, this is where you want to be. Or you might just have a friend that has spoken to you about something before. Get that friend here. Send them the link to register, or simply send them this link so that they can be a part of it. And guess what? For everyone that is registered, we've got goodies for you. If you've not registered, get on the link. Make sure you're registered. Don't just join through the YouTube. Make sure you are registered, because as we go on, we'll be telling you about the gifts that we have in the next few days. And I saw the very first person that came in here today, and we've got gifts for our early birds. If there's anything I want to assure you of this, is the fact that, you see, after this summit, something is definitely going to shift. If you're married, your spouse will tell you something has changed. If you're raising kids, I can tell you, your kids are going to experience a different and a totally new you, because we're intending that you're not going to leave here the same. It's going to be a great one. So who are we? Who are these people? Who are the people who have come up with this summit? Who are we? We are called the Family Systems Engineering Unit, or team. We are part of an institute that is the Institute of Family Engineering and Development. And we are a community of family life practitioners. We're committed to promoting the dignity of persons through professional family life practice. We help to produce the ideal family life practitioners that humanity deserves. And who do we, or what do we stand for, or what do we believe in? We believe in something called Ubuntu. It's spelled Ubuntu. You might want to Google it. just check what Ubuntu means, but I'll give you a very short definition. It simply means humanity. And what are we after? It's all about saying that I am because you are. You might want to type that in the chat box just to tell somebody next to you. You don't know what the person is going through, but just say, I am because you are. That's Ubuntu. And that's what we believe in. We believe that there is good in every human being. And with the right engineering, everyone can spread love and we can heal our world. That's what we believe in. And guess what? We are a brand of new people, a breed of fresh people, fresh ideas, a fresh face with a love for humanity. We are a people that we do not see race. We don't see gender. We don't see color. We don't see religion. All we see is humanity. We see unity and we want our world to live in harmony. We're going to tell you more about our tribe as we go on. But I want to tell you, this is the best place you can be on a Friday evening. Trust me on this one. After the sessions, you will tell me this is true. And guess what? We don't just, we're not just the bunch of family life practitioners you meet everywhere else, but we work with evidence-based tools that would help you tackle any family life issues. Read my lips, any. So if you know of anyone, a friend that's been asking you, oh, this about my child, or something that relates to family, get them here. Send them the link. I said, share the link. Anything that relates to couples, parenting, teens, the toughest questions, go and get them down here. We would answer those questions within the next 2 days. So in the next 2 days, we're going to be having members or people from the Institute as well as friends of the Institute. They're going to be tackling a lot of family questions. And as we go on, we'll let you know what the topics is going to be all about. So before we kick off, I'd like you to tell us where you're joining from, because there is a competition going on. Where are you logging in from? My UK people, where are you? Okay, UK is winning this, I'm sure. Yes, I can see. Where are you logging in from? Just tell me. Hit the chat box and tell me where you're logging in from. I'd like to know where you are logging in from. For one, today I am representing the United Kingdom. So UK people, let me see. If they're not here, quickly go and get our people. We must win this thing. We must win it. Okay, so we said so much, and I'd just like to dive right into it. Okay, let me see who is topping the chat. Who is topping the chat? Because I'm going to be introducing the very first speaker shortly. And this speaker is a lady that's so precious to my heart. And she knows that. Very, very dear to me. We even have songs that we play and joke about. Maybe I should sing one of those songs. I'm sure she's wondering, if you dare, don't you dare sing any of them. Don't worry, I'm not singing. This song is for us alone. I'm not singing any of the songs. No way, I'm not singing any of the songs. But anyway, I'd like you to listen to, the profile of this, my first speaker. And guess what? This profile and how to contact this speaker is going to be made available to you. You just make sure that you're registered for the summit. If you're registered, then you're going to get a contact of this precious person I am introducing, my very first speaker. Her name is Dimma Nwobi, and she's fondly called the Queen of Happiness and Human Flourishing. She is the founder of Amplify Humanity Project, with an audacious vision to make the tools for optimal and mental, emotional well-being. Human flourishing and meaningful living accessible and affordable to at least 1 billion humans by 2031. I told you the people from our institute are on fire. She is a certified applied positive psychology coach, and the list just goes on and on and on. Most of all, Dimma is a good dancer, but a good dancer in her art. Not really a very, I've not said anything, but, I just know that she can dance in her heart. And guess who's here? Dimma, my very own diva. Ah,
Hello, people. Hello, Ibuku. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you today. I want to first of all say congratulations to the family systems and practitioners in the UK for putting this together. Can you hear me, Ibuku?
yes, I can.
I was just waiting for you. If you had sang that song, only God knows what I would have done to you. But let's leave that. Let's talk about today's topic because coincidentally, we're having another stream of family systems engineering online class is starting today at exactly 7 p.m. and I'll be starting that class. So I have 30 minutes with you wonderful people and I hope that we can make the most of it. So, the topic I've been asked to talk about is unpacking parental norms and expectations. Unpacking parental norms and expectations. And I just want to start off this way. If you're a parent currently, what is that one go to when you want to navigate a parenting challenge? Something happens with your children, something happens in your home, and you want to get a solution to it. What is that first go to? Please drop it in the chat box. The team with me, once you have it going on, I want to see as many people's responses. What is that one go to that you go to when you have parenting issues? So we're saying norms. What are norms? Norms are like standards. I want to first of all start by saying there is no almighty formula to parenting. There is no one size fits all. So when we're talking about standards, I would rather say it is about you being intentional as a parent because there is no almighty. Everyone is still looking for that one book that has all of the solutions to parenting issues. And that book yet is not in existence. Why? Because every child is unique. We are blessed with 4 children, and I like to say to people the only thing they have in common is that their name starts with letter K. That is it. They're as different as their faces are. Okay. So that is fundamentally what I want us to begin with, that there is no almighty formula for parenting. Rather, it is for you to be intentional. I'm just going to quickly share some things with you. Another thing I want you to know is that the most important person in parenting is you. Not your child, but you, because it starts from you. Whatever your child is going to be, however you're going to parent your child, starts from you critically. So that's why sometimes when I see parents saying, my child did this, my child did that, I'm like, take the searchlight back on yourself, beam it on yourself. That is why at the Institute, we say that the family, being the production center of the society, starts from you and I. So, what are some of the things we say about parenting? I'll try to just bring out some of them. One of the things is that, oh, people say that I'm a failure if my child has failed. If I fail at raising my child, that means I have failed. You see, because of that, we put undue pressure on ourselves to raise the perfect child, to be the perfect mom, to be the perfect dad. And in the midst of the overwhelm, we still do not raise a perfect child because there is no perfect child. If you understand what parenting is, from the root word perare, it means to bring forth. That means that whatever be the norms, whatever be the expectations you have as a parent, is to bring forth all that your child bears, all that your child has in store in him, and you bringing it to fruition. That is what your work as a parent is. One other thing that I have seen becoming like a norm amongst parents, particularly parents of African origin, is that my child will not suffer. Oh, I have suffered enough, so my child will not suffer. And because we do not want our children to suffer, we are raising entitled children. We're raising children who do not have the life skills to stand on their own. We're raising children who eventually are suffering under our care. You know, when you talk about suffering, we usually like to equate it to maybe all the things we can provide for my child so that my child is not lacking. But do you know that suffering is the loss of something essential or the threatened loss of something essential? And fundamentally, if your parenting does not help your child to have a healthy self esteem, a healthy self image, then your parenting has actually raised a child that is suffering, maybe not materially, but otherwise. Okay, so your child is not you. You have been given the work to raise a child. So, what are some of those expectations? I hope I'm connecting with someone. Another thing that has been a challenge for parents, oh, I'm a failure if my child has failed. My child cannot suffer, but yet our children are suffering psychologically, mentally, and emotionally because we are not giving them that sense of self-identity. There are three critical things that every human being wants, and I'm going to link that to parenting. It's the need for love, it's the need for belonging, and it's the need for significance. Now, and that leads me to the third thing I'm talking about, which is if I spare the rod, I'll spoil the child. And then some people are like, no, but if I beat that child or if I punish that child, maybe for some of you that are in the UK, he might call the cops on me. So you're really confused. I don't want to beat him so that I don't get into trouble, but I don't want to spare the rod so that the child does not get spoiled. But that becomes part of what makes parenting even hard for us in this dispensation. But if you understand and hear this critically, and I think this is something someone needs to tweet or to put as part of your learnings, any misbehaving child is a discouraged child. When your child is misbehaving, that child is simply looking for ways to belong and for ways to gain more significance. That is the goal of misbehavior, whatever be the misbehavior. So that means that as a parent, if you are going to raise a wholesome child, you must understand these fundamental needs. Okay? The need for love, the need for significance, and the need for belonging. So let me ask us a question. I have been a parent for 17 years. How long have you been a parent? And before you became a parent, what did you learn about parenting? Who taught you parenting? Who taught you parenting? Was it just by observing your parents or by reading books? Who taught you parenting? That is fundamental, because if we are talking about the expectations, then it starts from the beginning. We have this popular cliche that when purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. So when we start our discussion with who taught you parenting? Secondly, who are you as a parent? Sometimes you ask this in seminars, in workshops, and there are parents who have never bothered to check even what does parenting mean. If parenting is to bring forth a child, what do you need to bring forth a child? And there are three things I want to leave you with today. Your parenting, what's the topic again? It says unpacking parenting norms and expectations. If there are any expectations I want you to have as a parent, it is these three expectations. And to make it easy for you to remember, I've titled it the 3 R's of intentional parenting. And they are responsiveness, resourcefulness, and resilience. And I'm going to try within the time that I have to discuss this with you. And please, if you have any questions, please drop your questions, drop your comments. Even if there's anything that I'm sharing that is resonating with you, please send it back to me as a comment so that I know that I'm talking with people. That's one of the things about the StreamYard, because you're just talking, you don't know whether the people are listening or they are picking anything. But if we're on Zoom, I'll be seeing your faces and I'll be reading the physiological cues. So just make me know we're connecting. Drop something for me in the chat box, anything that resonates with you. Okay? So the first thing on unpacking parental expectations is responsiveness. That word responsive. Because every child is unique. And even in the uniqueness of the child, every child has different needs per time. Now, we don't want to even begin to talk, what are the systems with which you know what your child needs per time? If you're going to be responsive in your role as a parent, you have to be present and attuned to the environment and what is happening. One of the God-given skills that God has given every human being that becomes very important in parenting is the gift of observation, the gift of mindfulness. We are so distracted as parents that we are losing the nuggets of information that our children are passing across to us, that the universe is trying to give us. Okay, how responsive are you? Some of us as parents, it depends on what you may have done. You may be stuck in the past, or in the past I didn't get this with parenting. That's okay. What of in the present? One way of being responsive is by creating a secure attachment in your home. And there are 4 things that your home has to have to grow that sense of secure attachment. It's a place where your children feel seen. Every child wants to be seen and has to be seen. Secondly, is a place where your children feel suited. And by suiting, it is something we need to talk about as African parents. Time has come that as a parent, you are the first emotions coach of your child. When our children make mistakes, when your child is sorrowing, when your child is experiencing different, diverse, intense emotions, how do you know it? How do you suit the child? Is a home where a child feels secure and safe. That is where the responsiveness comes. Because if you are not mindful enough to notice what your child needs at that time, you may not be able to parent the child appropriately. I like to say this even to middle class parents and upper class parents. Your presence, without your presence, may excite your child in the short term, but will be damaging to your child in the long term. Maybe because of the economics, maybe because of parents walking away from home, we tend to want to, speak to the guilt we feel of not being available for our children with presence. But your children need your presence more than your presence. So I'm just going to keep that here. Because you cannot respond to the real need of your child if you're not present. So I quickly move to the second thing. The second thing is resourcefulness. I can't talk about resourcefulness enough. Your parenting efficacy, your effectiveness as a parent is as flourishing as your mindset, as your skill set, as your tool set is. Which is why I want to say thank you to everyone who has taken time here to be here today. What resources do you have? Sometimes I talk to people and they're like, oh, maybe when we're talking like Buku introduced the family systems engineering, and we talk about the need to continuously educate yourselves. One of the things someone said to me is that, oh, my parents did not attend parenting seminars, but we turned out well. Let's not talk about how we turned out well, because there are lots of adults continuing the cycle of trauma that they have taken from their childhood even onto adulthood. Take, for example, if your child has some emotional needs and you are not emotionally intelligent as a parent, how do you help that child? If your child is dealing with poor self-esteem and you don't know what to do in that situation, how do you help that child? If your child is navigating one pressure or the other, even in attaining the milestones, are you aware that there are some parents that do not know what the age-appropriate milestones for their children are? They don't know what to expect from a 3-year-old. That is why you see a parent spank a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old for spilling water in the living room. It's because you are ignorant of the cognitive development of that child. There are expected and unexpected behaviors from children. And so when we punish a child for unexpected behavior, it shows to how resourceful we are. So what is the age? What age is your child? What emotional needs does that child have? What developmental stage needs does your child have? That is why you cannot continue to rely on old information to raise a child now. Are you aware that for all of us that are here as parents, most likely our children are within the Gen Z and Alpha generation? And if you do not know the peculiarities of those children, how do you raise that child? So if you are relying on the information you had from about raising children 10 years ago, please, I want to let you know that the cheese keep moving. One of the things that can help you meet your expectations as a parent is continuous learnings. Let me give you a personal experience. Sometime in the past 3 months or so, we were studying sexual orientations with our children. So our eldest is 17 and the youngest is 11. And so daddy and I came on and we're talking at LGBTQ. And then they said to us, oh, we've gone beyond that. It's LGBTQQIP2SAA. Like they began to educate us on the available sexual orientations right now. So imagine if as a parent you can't even have that conversation. What are you going to do to raise a child effectively in this age when you are ignorant of what is happening at this time? So that's the second thing, resourcefulness. The third thing, and that's no wonder the scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, not lack of love. I like to say to people, your love is not enough to raise a wholesome child. It doesn't matter how much you love your child if you do not have the requisite mindset. Now, let me give you a little bit of information like we teach in the FSC. There's this thing we call the triangle of life, which if you get interested in family systems engineering, you will begin to learn about even for yourself and in your parenting. And what are the three things in the triangle of life? Your beliefs, your behaviors, and your outcomes. Now, if you lose anything I've said today, please take this to heart, that your belief about yourself and your capabilities to raise a whole child is directly proportional to the outcomes that you're getting. So let me break it down. What you believe about yourself, which may not be a belief gotten from you, it could be a belief passed down by your parents, it could be a belief that people who have spoken to your life, the handlers in your life, have made you believe about yourself, whether it is serving you or not serving you, that is directly proportional to the outcome. So that means if you're listening to me today and there is an outcome in your family, there is an outcome in your parenting that you do not like, many a times we begin to check for strategies to change the outcome. No, go back to your beliefs. What do you believe about yourself and your capabilities? And as somebody with 4 children, I want to tell you that the beliefs you have about raising, especially if you have more than one child, differs from child to child, depending on the interpretations you have given to the things and the events that have happened in the child's lifetime. So I give an example. Say, for example, a child of ours is struggling with mathematics. Okay, my belief about that child will affect how I'm parenting her in that area of her life. So please get in contact with the Family Systems Engineering UK team and really sit to understand what are your beliefs, how are your beliefs influencing your behaviors, and how are those behaviors giving you the outcome that you want. Quickly, I'm going to go to the last thing because I see my time is going up. The third R is resilience. There's something I want you to know. Parenting is hard. Take it from me. As everything in life is hard. But what gives you that sense of courage is the knowing that you know how to handle a situation. So I give you a typical example. Right now, our son of 11 is dealing with gaming addiction. I term it addiction because the time and the energy is given into the gaming is influencing or affecting his normal functioning day to day. Now, is it that, oh, mommy is a parenting coach? How come? No, 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 no. Because life is imperfect and our children will struggle with one thing or the other at different times. So first of all, you want to, not approach any situation with your children from a fear-based perspective. You want to embrace a solution focus. Now, this is critical because in meeting your expectation as a parent, it determines the perspective you are taking it from. A lot of parents are panicking. A lot of parents are afraid, are fearful. Oh, let me not damage this child. Hey, what if my child turns out right? What if I don't do well in parenting? No, 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 no. The fear alone cripples it. Let me not give you a lot about neuroscience, but we know that when we are fear driven, it limits us and narrows our thinking. So rather than that, what you need to do is to approach it from a solution focus. That's one. Sadly enough, when even some parents approach parenting from a solution focus, they still go to the narrow avoidance. Oh, let me do this so that my child does not turn out wrong. Let me do this so that you don't do that. And even in parenting our children, we are so focused in telling them what not to do rather than telling them what to do. So 2 days ago, we were having a learning experience in our home, and the conversation around punitive punishment of flogging, beating came up. And we had a visiting cousin who said, it's good to flog, or if you don't flog children of these days. And then one of our daughters said to him, when a parent flogs a child for doing something, you are simply telling him what not to do. So how does she put it? You are telling him what not to do. When you are there, you are not telling him what to do. That really hit home. A lot of times we are focused on don't do this, but tell him what to do. So let's go back. So if you are not fear focused but solution focused, let your solution focus not be on avoidance, what we need to avoid. Rather, let it be what we are working towards. So one take home you should take again. Rather than telling your children what not to do, please tell them what to do and break it down into sub goals so that they can act on it. So back to the what I want to wrap up with about our son and the gaming addiction. So the beauty of resourcefulness is when you are faced with a challenge and you know what to do about it. Even when you don't know what to do about it, there are resources. There are people like family systems, engineering colleagues over there and all over. There are resources, the ABC of intentional parenting on the Go audio program, a lot of resources. Because for us, we sat down with that situation and we said, what is this? Because remember, I said to you that every behavior, every misbehavior is your child's attempt to belong and be significant. So in that situation where our son was getting addicted to gaming, we had to find out, what did he want to belong to? What significant was he seeking there? And it was a question of misguided power. Because he wanted to belong. Oh, his classmates are gaming. So when they're having conversations, he wants to be a part of the conversation. And then when he gains and he wins something, he feels that power of significance. But power is not bad. So rather than stopping him from gaming and saying, don't do this, is for us to guide the power in a way that it does not affect the normal functioning of his life. I hope somebody is picking something. Okay, so the last thing is the resilience. Tell me if there is one thing that causes overwhelm, it is parenting. And as life is, work is not waiting for you to go and parent. Your friends are not waiting. Your finances are not waiting. So you are juggling all of these dimensions of life, even with parenting, and it can be overwhelming. So how resilient are you as a parent? What resources do you have to keep yourself energized, engaged, and even enthusiastic about life? That is something, because many a times when you're having conversations with parents, even parents who say, oh, I'm not going to beat my child, I'm not going to shout at my child, when you come down to the get it down to the fundamentals, that parent was either crappy, overwhelmed, cranky, emotionally overwhelmed, and you just lash out at that child because you yourself, you are drained. So the secret to parenting effectively without losing your mind is knowing that you have to keep your sanity so that you can parent. So that brings me to, what are your rituals? What are your routines? What are the ways that you optimize your mental and emotional well-being so that you can even do your parenting work effectively? Which is why we say in family systems engineering that whole people build whole marriages and whole people raise whole children. So I guess I just want to ask you a question today. What is overwhelming you? What is that one parenting challenge that you have? And how have you been handling it? Because if you take this to heart, you come up with that challenge you're having, you look at how you've been handling it. Has it been giving you the results that you want? If it's not giving you the results that you want, then get the help you need, get the resources you need. Focus on growing your sense of responsiveness, where you're observant and mindful to notice the needs of your children. Focus on growing your resourcefulness. Get information, get a coach. I'm going to drop a link with the organizers for you to take the parenting skills evaluation. And if you take the parenting skills evaluation and your current level of parenting skills is anything from below average, from average to below average, please, 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 please go get yourself a parenting coach. Parenting is as serious as that. If you want to meet your milestones and your parenting skills are below average, just attending this seminar, may not be what you need. You need a tailored solution through a coach to meet that. I guess Buku is saying my time is up, so I'm going to pause here and then I will take some questions.
Fantastic. Jackie, do you have words? Because I'm looking for words. Jackie, I can't seem to hear you. Can you hear me?
I have words. Dima, thank you for coming to Book Our Minds. Good evening, everyone. That was so good. That was so good. I was just making notes. Presence over presence. Give your child the gift of observation and mindfulness. Don't just be available. Be mindful, observe. She gave us the 3 hours. So beautiful, Boku. My heart is full, and I hope that parents are happy, to have just gotten all of this wisdom free of charge tonight from FSC UK.
There are comments that just everyone sending you love. We've got fire emojis, we've got thumbs up, you've got people giving you knuckle. Dima, do you want to take one? People are just giving you all sorts.
Your knuckle.
Really good.
I'm sending it right back to them. Love, 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 love.
Oh, bless.
Good. Okay. So over to you, Jackie. The questions. Yes. So people, put your questions in the comment box. If you got questions, I said at the beginning, go and bring your toughest parenting questions. In fact, not just parenting, family life questions. Here we have a bunch of engineers, and what we do here is for the engineers. When you've got a building, it's not the outside that makes the building, it's those other things that are within. We dig deep, we pull everything down to say, what's the foundation looking like? What's this? And we can help you to rebuild. We can help you to rebuild that, strong family, strong house that you're looking out for. And trust me on this, you don't want to miss the next 2 days. So I'll let Jackie take some questions. I don't know if we've got any questions just yet. I'll be reading the comments while you just help Dima with some questions that you probably already got. I like some questions.
Yes. Amazing. So we got a few. I've got one from the chat I noted, and I think we're having a few coming in, and I have another one as well that we had received. Guys, we have our principal in the house. I don't know if you know what that means. It means bring your questions, come and milk it. Dima, immediately I just want to run in. Someone said when you were talking about telling them what to do rather than what not to do, and so someone had sent in, what if I tell my child what to do and then apply the punitive measure?
Can you hear her?
I can you not hear her?
She's cracking. I can't make sense of what she's saying. I just know she's talking.
Oh, I can hear her very well.
Okay, Jackie, could you go again?
Okay, I'll go again. I said, someone said, what if, fantastic. Someone said, what if I tell my child what to do? When you were talking about telling them what not to do versus telling them what to do. So someone said, what if I tell my child what to do and then apply the punitive measure?
Okay.
Did you hear that?
I hope. Yes, I got that. What if I tell my child what to do, then apply the punitive measure? I wish I was having an interaction with this person, why do you want to apply the punitive measure? First of all, I want us to understand. Remember, I said there are three fundamental things that every one of us, even you, Jackie, even you, Buku, even the person who answered this question, these are the three core psychological needs we all have as human beings. The need for love, the need for significance, and the need for a sense of belonging. Punitive discipline destroys belonging, destroys significance. That is why punitive punishment disconnects the child from the parent, because it doesn't promote the sense of belonging. It doesn't promote the sense of significance. And if you remember that I said every misbehavior is a child trying to get more of this. So the punitive discipline is destroying that. The child will go for another misbehavior, because for him to be a human being, he needs to have that sense of belonging. Otherwise, it will translate to a mental health issue. That's one. Secondly, what is the goal of discipline? The goal of discipline is to disciple, is to train somebody into a better person, right? Punitive punishment does not work in the long term, because it doesn't encourage the growing of skills. It doesn't encourage self-efficacy. So my son is having his math lesson, and for some time, long story, let me just cut the story short. So the goal that our son has been focusing on, our 11-year-old son, for the past 1 year, is to grow his attention span. The ability for him to sit still and follow through and complete a task. That is what is growing. And so he has a math teacher, and the math teacher will give an assignment. He's coming in 2 days' time. He's not done the assignment. Even though I pursue him and say, do the assignment. And the math teacher said to me, Ma, we need to get a cane. And I said to him, what would the cane do for him? The cane might make him fear, or the need for him to escape from pain, to do that, but it doesn't teach him the skill. So this boy becomes an adult, but he has still not grown the skill of self-regulation, which is what is important. Punitive punishment does not do that. So for that person who wants to tell your child what to do, that is one angle. How do you help the child do that thing you want him to do? That is why for us as parents, we must understand the strengths of our children. We have been focused too much on what they are not doing right. Can we refocus on what is right about them and use it to create routines for them? So I'm going to be talking more. So say, for example, this same son of ours, his 5 top strengths is creativity, curiosity, love of learning, zest. And so he comes to me and says, Mom, I have an assignment, but it's art. I don't want to do my art assignment. And I said to him, which of your strengths do you want to lean on to tackle that? Because I know that his strength is something that he loves to do. It's something that is energizing to him. It's something that he is excellent in. And he said, oh, I want to lean on curiosity. I said, so how do you apply curiosity to this? So what am I saying to that parent? It's beyond telling your child what to do. It's also helping the child do it by leaning on the ways that is unique to that child. I like to give an example. I worked with a parent, and what made the difference to their child, even at 7-year-old, increasing his ability to follow through with instructions, was just that we discovered that this boy was a visual learner. So the mother has been giving him instructions orally, do this, do this. He humbly forgets, not because he does not want to do it, but auditory learning is not his go-to. By the time we did some assessment and found that he was a visual learner, write the instruction and paste it on the board. So when he sees it, he remembers. That was the difference. But the woman could have been beating him. I've been telling you to do this. You're not doing it. But you have not yet taught him to do it in the way that it is easy for him to do it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dinma. And I see many questions already. And I just want to appeal to everyone who is listening, who is watching, and probably will watch later, that if you have such questions that I've read, they're great, they're good. But I mean, Dima said it, get a parenting coach. I see some deep questions here. I just want to say ahead that, it wouldn't be a quick fix, really, but we'll let Dima go into some. Let's take any to Ajayi's question. How can you give your child the gift of observation?
I want to ask Ajayi, what is observation? To observe is to be what? To see, to notice, to be aware, right? So giving your child a gift of observation is by you, first of all, being in tune to yourself. When there is so much happening inside of you and you don't have internal peace, you cannot observe.
So good.
That's deep.
And we are
So good.
so busy in this world that we are not present. So what I will say to Ajayi, and for every parent like myself who wants to gift your child the gift of observation, start small. Spend 3 minutes, 5 minutes every day, even if it's as simple as looking around your environment, so that you get, how will I put it, you build the habit of noticing. That's what I would say. So notice what is happening around you, notice what is happening in your child, and it grows from you being mindful. And you start this mindfulness in daily living by even practicing it in the small things. Sometimes when your child does something, don't be quick to answer back. Don't be quick to give solution. If you remember that I said that every misbehavior is a quest for more significance and more belonging. When your child does something, you can pause and ask yourself, what is this child trying to communicate? What is this behavior needing from me and from life? And so the way to give your child observance is by observing. Spend 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day, just observe. Be in your child's presence. Sometimes you can just go into their room, even if it's scattered. It's not every day you must scream at the top of your head, fix your room, fix it. Some days you just want to observe.
Yes.
There's certain information that you get by just being present. It's not every time your child will tell you, I'm sad, this is happening. But, we are energy. And the energy you vibrate in your home encourages the observance. You could just come into your home and you feel that the aura is not right because your mind has been trained to observe. And so you can catch some cues, even, through your sensory organs, but it starts from daily making a commitment to observe.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dima. And I just wanted to say something quickly, just to say that I wrote a book where I talked about a 15-year-old who had an abortion twice under her parents' roof, under her mother's nose, within a space of 1 year. And, that was missed. And I think that speaks to observation, the gift of observation, like right under the nose. And I hope that even helps everyone listening to understand what Dima is saying about the gift of observation. Don't just be available. Don't just be present, be available, but also be observant. What's happening to them? Why are they quiet? Why are they jumpy? Whatever it is, and that's so good. Next question. I saw one before this.
Just before you go to the next one, I just want to know, Dimmat, are you able to do just one more question, or do you need to leave now? Because she needs to.
Let's take the question. I'm enjoying this. 2 more questions and I'll leave.
2 more. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, let's take Lagos Mom. She says, can you share how to manage a child who has been exposed to LGBT material in UK schools?
Lagos moms, that is interesting. And this is a conversation we need to be having. I want to say something. Our children started growing up in our homes. Say, for example, if a child is 10, this child did not just turn 10. And I think this question that Lagos mom asked is very important. And I want to say that to, I know that a good number of us are African parents. This is not the time to pretend not to know what is happening in the world. You will just be doing yourself a disservice if you pretend that your children do not exist in this world. You will also be lying to yourself if you pretend, and I'm saying this emphatically and as precisely as I can say it, you will also be lying to yourself if you pretend that your prayer cover over your children is enough for them. And I'm going to say this, and I want you to know that I'm faith-based. I want you to know that the ritual in my family every day in the morning is that their father, as the priest over in the house, places his hand on the children's head every day and blesses them before they go out to school. So I'm not telling you that I don't pray, but I want you to know that you must begin to have conversations about what is happening in the world with your children. Age appropriately. I told you about us having the conversation on sexual orientation, and then one of our daughters came to me and said, I'm hearing about the pansexuals. What about these people, And we began to talk about it. So for that woman or that parent whose child is, and it's not just the UK, you have to have this conversation. Talk about these different sexual orientations and let them know what it means, starting first of all from your place of value. So let me give you how we handled it in my home, and then you can translate it to your own home. So we dedicated series of learning experiences to talk about sexual orientation. And then we took it from different angles. Their dad looked at sexuality in the Bible because we're faith-based, we're Christians, and the Bible is one of the books that we hold as, where we get our beliefs from. So we treated sexuality from the Bible, everything. Do you know that one of our daughters said she did not even know that homosexualism even was in the Bible as much as in the Old Testament? And then we began to look at what God says about sex and sexuality. That's one. Then we started to look at it from the psychological point of view. And I began to share with them the possibilities of how people could have different sexual orientation. And that's another level of conversation, because sometimes even parenting confuses people of their sexuality. I mean, yes, of course, that has been proven. Imagine in a home where somebody is a boy child, and 2 years later, the family welcomes a daughter. And rightly so, the parents are transferring attention to that daughter. Oh, she's the younger one, you are a bit, and they're making her hair, ponytails and all that. It so could be, yes, in the psychosexual development of a child. The child could begin to get fixated to say, oh, it's the girl child that people love, and oh, I wish I'm a girl. That is one angle. There is a genetic angle to it. All of us have the female and male reproductive properties in our bodies. Some people, the genetics did not rightly, separate theirs as male or female. And so they have heightened, say for example, as a woman, the person could have heightened male hormones. So it's also biological. So you need to have those conversations with them. And then you need to also teach them, how do you relate with people in this kind of sexual orientation? It is love, but not conformity. So what I'm answering to Lagos mom is the conversation. We cannot say we are not having the conversation, because if you don't have the conversation, somebody else will have the conversation with your child. Take, for example, two of my daughters, their strength is love of learning. And if you've heard about people say sapiosexual, attracted to people who are intellectually stimulating, some people call themselves pansexuals. She came to me and said, but I like my friends, my female friends who are intellectual. I love to have conversations with them. I love to be around them. Does that make me pansexual? And I said to her, let's look at this. Do you engage having conversations with them, or in that moment, do you feel sexually attracted to them? And so we're able to make that distinction. But if I did not make the environment where we can have this conversation, she could be confused in that sexual orientation and try to, out of curiosity, want to explore it or ask somebody, and the person will say, yes, that's who you are. So please, whether in the UK, whether in Nigeria, anywhere, You cannot not have conversations about sexual orientation in your home. It's not a we pretend it does not exist. It's not we are covered by the blood of Jesus ignorance. No, it is happening. Except you want to tie your child in your home, no devices, no school, no anywhere. So long as that child is interacting with another person, that conversation must be had, and it's best had at home.
Oh, that's so good, Dima. That's so good. I love how you even just exposed us to how we can confuse our children, about sexuality just because of how we are doting on one sex. Oh my God, and I hope that even helps. I know, I totally get, and that's just so powerful. And I hope that that blesses a lot of us and gives us insight, even helps us to review how we're treating one sex above the other. Dima, we have two solid questions for you. I'm going to merge Enito Ajayi's question with Biola Ojo. So Enito Ajayi says, how do you help a teenager who has withdrawn from the parents, family, and friends? Biola Ojo says, how do I help a child to come out of himself because of my previous attitude that has shut him up? So I see the whole withdrawal thing happening for these two questions. Dima, what is your counsel?
My counsel to Biola and to Enito is to get help.
Yes.
Why do I say get help? Because there are different layers to it. For Biola Ojo, who the child has shut up because of previous attitude, there must be some repair done. And if you are not skillful enough to do the repair, you might cause more damage. That was why I said parenting is being responsive, resourceful, and resilient. Maybe you were not resourceful enough, and that was why you handled it that way. Now, to rebuild the trust, let me say something to us as parents. Every child, especially as teenagers, need at least one responsive, resilient, interdependent adult in his or her life. And it does not have to be the parent.
I love that.
If you are not skillful enough to do it as a parent, get your child a mentor, a coach, or somebody who can stand in that gap. So if things are already this way, I can give you an answer in 1 minute what to do, because we need to first of all know the interpretation that the child has given to it, help the child to heal, and then begin to rebuild the relationship, and then teach you, the parent, how to, work with the child. So there are different layers to it. I would need, if this was a client I was working with, I need to know the extent of damage that the child feels. I need to do some assessment to know the child's strengths, so that I can leverage that strength to help him to recover, and then teach the parents more empowering ways. So that's why I summarized it. Get help.
Yes, they need to get help. Thank you, Dima. And I just want to mention that withdrawal sometimes is a symptom of abuse going on, just as an example, just one. And so it's important for you to really go and sit with someone so that you can get to the bottom of it. And I think that, I hope that helps. I want to take Sheyi Raufu's question. If that's the last, that's fine, because we know you have to go, our principal.
I'm going. Sorry about that, Jackie. FSC is starting in a minute, and I'm starting class. And our policy is we start on time. Absolutely. So just gather the questions. I trust that you'll be able to answer the questions. If there are questions you cannot answer, you want to pass to me, that is fine. Buku, you can also share with them the resources of intentional parenting that are in your archive, so that they can use it. And I just wish you all great movement that you've started. This is just a way that God is going to use you to transform a lot of lives in the UK space. So well done, people, and thanks for having me. But I have to leave.
Thank you so much, Dima. Wonderful session as always. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Full of wisdom. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, Bucky.
Jackie, I've got no words. Absolutely stunned. Every time I listen to that Dima we call principal, I honestly don't know where to, guys.
It's so loaded. I like it.
I don't have words, but I introduced the institute earlier, and I said family systems engineering. We're going to give you the links. A class is starting, and that's why I did myself. You can still join that class. We're going to share the link. I don't know if anyone here has got the link to register or to be a part. If you want to know more about everything that Dima is saying, you want to build that home, build that family, you want to reconstruct, join with the engineers. We're taking over the world. We're building a new nation, a new tribe of people where
Absolutely.
because Jackie and I have raised our child, or we've raised children in a way that we're sure. If Jackie's daughter comes home to say, I'm going to go off with Bokun's son, I will just put my leg on the table gladly.
Yeah.
That's the tribe that we are
So good.
raising, and you want to join this tribe, you want to join the train. It's not too late. We'll be giving and sharing more links. All these questions you're asking, they are valid. There are places where I have been. Jackie's done the course, I've done it, and we've been there. But I can tell you the number of questions I had, not just about parenting, but even for me as a person in life, that have been answered because I took on FSC. FSC is a different level. And if you've registered, we'll be sharing with you links to all our practitioners in the UK as well as our speakers. You can reach out to them. We'll share contact details and how you can email them, find out about. So everyone there would be able to either help you with your parenting questions or point you in the right direction. So you can feel free to reach out. Once you look at their faces, you can just look at them and say, oh, I like this one. Pick and choose. And if we're permitted, I would see if you're back here tomorrow and you indicate that you were here early, we might just give free consultation calls to a few people just to see, if we will be able to get to the root of. But then, I'm just speechless with Dima's teaching as well as the way she's answered this question. Jackie,
was so
what
good.
would you have to say so that we can bring in our next speaker? She's waiting.
Yeah.
I can see her. This person is another special person to my heart. Isn't she? So, Jackie, over to you.
I just want to help Shay Ralph, if that's okay, for 1 minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
He says, what's the best way to bring up a child in the UK, especially in Scotland, that if the child reports you to the school, the child is taken away from the parent? The good thing about this is we are all living in the UK, and that's why I'm sure that the family systems engineering is really run by the famous powerful Praise for Wowe, and so you would understand that it has a heart for families, and that's why even the UK chapter is fully being established so that we can begin to help. A lot of our children here are having to go into the system because Nigerian parents, African parents, and even sometimes theirs don't even know how to handle, discipline. We have been taught that discipline is the belt. Discipline is the cane. Discipline is the wooden ladle in your kitchen. Do you see what I mean? We have been taught that, but that's not the way. And like I always say to my clients, and I say to them, all the beatings you had, did it stop you from doing the wrong thing? And let's all answer that question. Did it stop us? In fact, I felt like it made me want to do that thing. And like I was saying to someone the other day, I kept on saying, beat me now, beat me more, and beat me more, because we had gotten used to it. Absolutely. And he didn't do anything. How many of us didn't do that as a child? Beat me, it's okay, and that's you talking to your, because you had gotten to that point. But what do I want to say to Shay is to say, take on what Dima said. Your parenting must give your child a sense of significance, a sense of belonging, and you must make your child feel loved. Whatever you want to do, make sure it does this. You see? So already, if you want to follow these 3 principles, you know what to take out of your parenting style. And that's the truth. I always say that I thank God for coming to the UK, because I probably would have relieved the things that I went through, and I saw, with my own parenting. And so I'm always grateful because I have the gates, if you see what I mean, the boundaries of the rule. So Shay, I want you to see the rule as even a tool for you, as something that is working for you. It helps us to parent better. I have more conversations with my children. And Bokun, you will know, I'm sure that's exactly what you do as well. I have more conversations. I'm answering questions. I'm explaining things, and there are other measures. Sometimes you may want to take privileges, for some time. There are many other ways than those things that will put us in trouble. I always say that if you give your child what they need, every other thing is not. And so you can use those other things as privileges, and you can use them to maybe pass a message across to them. That way, nobody's going to come after your child or come after getting your child. Do you see what I mean? So let's remember that the children must feel safe. They must feel secure. They must feel seen. A child going to school crying is not a very good thing. And I know someone who's had to lose her child just because the child went to school in tears and said, this is what mommy did. And that was it for that day. social services at the door already. We all know this, so we have to be careful. We want to raise our kids the way that we want to. We know what we want to do, so we shouldn't let anything, mess up with that plan. I hope that's helped you, Shay. I'm sure it has. Over to you, Bakun. Let's have our second speaker.
I know Jackie and I will be back, so don't go anywhere. We've got a second speaker coming now. We'll be back for more questions and just to give you more overview. Okay, so I'm going to bring someone who is going to be introducing a second speaker, and Jackie and I are just going to go backstage. Thank you so much. You are on mute if you can hear me.
Yes, I have unmuted my mic. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm sure we are all having a blast. I mean, Bokun kept saying that she had no words, but just like Jackie, my note is full. I mean, I just kept on writing and writing. Dima is the bomb. And if you think you've heard some amazing things, I mean, we are not done. Wait for our second speaker. This lady is amazing. Beyond parenting, I mean, in family, finance is another area that a lot of people struggle with. And we know that here in the UK, people always say, oh, we make money, but the money they'll go into bills. We don't seem to be able to do the things we want to do. And finance is one major thing that we know we need to resolve and look into if we're going to achieve bliss and happiness in our homes. And so this evening, I am feeling very, very honored and privileged to be able to bring up on stage to talk to us on what we have titled Walking the Path Together. This lady is a phenomenal lady. She's a finance expert, and I'll just go on to read her profile. And get ready. Her name is Tosin Praise Fowowe, popularly called TPF, as a nickname. So her profile goes: Tosin Praise Fowowe is a premium finance coach who works with individuals and families to create a positive balance sheet and be rightly positioned to create a positive financial outlook through effective tracking of their money patterns and opening up new money opportunities around them. Oluwatosin Praise Fowowe has become known as the go-to debt buster coach because of her expertise in assisting many clients who were neck deep in debt move from their indebtedness to wealth zone within the shortest possible time. With a portfolio that includes top executives, government leaders, and business owners, she's a highly sought-after finance coach, passionate about assisting families build transgenerational wealth. She combines a variety of leadership skills garnered over the last 16 years across various sectors. Across various sectors like banking, high-risk investment, portfolio management, consulting, not-for-profit, among others, to help her clients work on a program that best works for them. So please, I want us to put our hands together. Use the emoji on the chat. Put your hands together. Let's welcome this amazing lady, Tosin Praise Fowowe. I know that her husband calls her royal intelligence, and I mean, I'm a sucker for intelligent and powerful women, and I know Tosin is one of them. So, if maybe before Dima took her session, you didn't know how this summit was going to go, you didn't have your writing materials, please don't miss out on this. Get your writing materials, and it's not too late to invite your friends to join, to come on board as well. So Tosin Praise Fowowe, you're welcome, and it's a privilege to have you on this summit. Over to you.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thank you, Mrs. Agbogun. Thank you, Bokun and Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to be here today. So my assignment is simple, and it's to talk about working it together. When we talk about family finance, we talk about personal finance, we talk about finance generally. We want couples and families to be able to work together and be able to manage their finances in such a way that it brings them to the place of wealth and well-being. Because when we know that they say that health is wealth, And if you have money and you don't have health, you'll use all the money that you have made to take care of yourself. And if you have good health and you don't have money, it could be a very frustrating, very interesting life. So, and in the years that I've worked together with a lot of couples, I have come to realize that one of the things that couples do not get to do together very well is managing their finances. So for me, I'm passionate about ensuring that couples get it right, work together when it comes to managing their finances and growing their wealth. So my assignment tonight is to ensure that I pass across as much knowledge as I can, in ensuring that you have a place where you can start from, or a place where you can grow from if you have already started working with your spouse on your finances. So I'm going to address starting together, or starting out, working together as a couple on your finances. I'm going to talk about if you've already started working together as a couple, what you can do to grow that and to consolidate the work that you're already doing, and how to introduce your kids into family finance. I've had people ask me, so why do we need to introduce our kids? It's just father and mother, and we are the ones who make the money. We decide what they get, what they don't get, what allowances, and all of those. Really, when you think about it, we call it family. And if you are working it together, if you do not, let me put it this way, if you do not bring your kids into the knowledge of how the finances in the home works, they will most likely frustrate your best efforts. And I'll get to how that can happen in any family, how kids can frustrate you. So for example, let me use myself as an example before I jump into my slides. I have very high tastes. I like good things, but I'm also a saver. So you see, imagine being somebody who has very good taste in quality things and being a saver is a lot of work. But I have a daughter who has a higher level of eye taste. And well, I will not say she's presently 10 years old. She understands what it means to share, what it means to save, and what it means to spend. But when she gets into her eye taste level, all she's thinking about is spend. And so when you don't help, if I don't help my daughter understand that you have to keep to your plan, even though your eye taste requires that you spend above your budget and stuff like that. If I don't help her understand that you have to always keep within your plans, she's going to mess herself up, mess her finances up, and she's going to, when she grows up, if she grows up in that state where she is right now, she's going to mess up somebody else's finance, which is her spouse. So we need to bring our children into that space early enough where they understand that you have to manage resources. By managing resources, I'm not saying that you should be pinch spending, but by managing resources, I mean that there has to be an allocation on an allotment of money towards different things that you need to spend on. So bringing them into that, conversation early enough helps them to learn, because we know, if you know, that the family is the first school that the children go to. They learn from us, their parents. So I call it the School of Money 101. And that is at home when they are growing up. They observe how you have that conversation with your husband or with your wife. They observe how you go to the store, to the grocery store, and buy the things. My daughter knows me. She knows that I don't go out to do shopping without a list. So we moved houses 2-3 days back, and while we were out shopping, I said, "Oh, what didn't I buy?" She said, "Oh, mommy, didn't you come with your list?" I said, "Oh, it's in my bag. I know what's in the list, so I have it all in my head." But at that point, I was like, "Is there something else I'm missing?" I said, "Okay, don't worry, I'll bring out your list." She brought out my list and she was like, "Okay, so we have bought this. Okay, just 2 things left, this and that." Then she said, "But this list is not complete." She now started adding things that I have not added to my list. I said, "Oh, that this list is just for this phase of shopping. The next phase of shopping is going to include the other things that she's already trying to put on the list." Now, because she understands that this is how our mom manages our money and our resources, she knows that for her to go out, if she's going shopping with me, even for herself, she has to have a list. oh, I don't have swimming trunk, I need swimming trunk, I need skate shoe, I need to sharpen my skates, I need to do this, there has to be a list, because I'm not just going to go into the marketplace and start picking up things and buying. And this is where a lot of couples come into friction. I've seen couples say, oh, she just buys at will, she just buys at whims, or he likes to buy a lot of toys, because they feel the other person is not managing the finances very well. So when you look at Bokun, can I share my slides? I think I can do that. I'd like to share.
Yes, you can. If you just try to click on the share, then I'll put your slide next to you.
Oh, okay. I can't see my slide. I don't know. I can't see my desktop.
I know, it's okay. What you can just do is minimize this and just keep. It will still, we would still see you, and then you can just go through your slides. You might just not be able to see us until, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll be just open it again. Okay, minimize, please. All right, can you see my slide now?
I can't see it, but if you can see it, we can see you. So just go on.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. I can see my slide, so I'll just go ahead. But what I wanted to show you right now is a list of the first 10 richest people in the world. And when you start from Jeff Bezos to Elon Musk and the likes of them, on the list of the 10 richest people in the world, 7 of them are divorced. Only 3 of them are not divorced. And that tells me a story of money is not a problem when it comes to marriage. Money is not the problem. Rich people get divorced. Poor people get divorced. There are rich people who are happy in their marriages. There are poor people who are frustrated in their marriages. So money is not the problem. The problem most people have in their marriages is being able to manage what comes in and being able to use it wisely to build the future that they desire together as a couple. So we are starting out, and you look at, it's not about we are 10 years in marriage. It's not about we are 1 year in marriage. It's not about we are 25 years in marriage. It's about being able to work together as a team, as a couple, being coupled well enough and being oiled well enough to work seamlessly and effortlessly as a couple. I told a couple sometimes, but I said, if you can stand, I told the guy, I said, if you can stand naked in front of your wife, and she can stand naked in front of you, and you look at yourself and you feel aroused and have sex, why can you not be naked with yourselves when it comes to your finances? Because at that point, the wife is, it doesn't have to know how much I'm earning. The guy is, she doesn't have to know how much I'm earning. It's really not about who knows how much you are earning. It's about what plan or goals of or big picture do we see for our family. So if you are 25 years in marriage and you are frustrated financially, there's problem. If you are 10 years in marriage and your finances is blossoming on the daily basis, fantastic. So you want to ask yourself, this 25 years of marriage, see, nobody taught us how to manage our finances, not in school, not anywhere. You have to take that task up yourself as a couple. If you want to look at how your parents manage their finances and run yours that way, you probably will run into trouble. And I'll tell you why. You have been married, you have been living with your parents. Okay, I got married at age 26, my husband at age 28. I lived 26 years with my parents. He lived 28 years with his. So I'm coming to our family with 26 years of learning that had nothing to do with him. He's coming into our marriage with 28 years of learning that he has acquired from his parents, from his siblings, from his extended family, from his teachers in school, from his lecturers at the university, from friends that he's rolled with over the years, from people that he has seen and observed, from books that he has read. His teachers are endless. And he's coming into our own with all those years of learning of how I do things, of how he does things. And we are bringing that into the Praise Forward family. It's not going to be automatic. We are not going to form a financial bond that is like that if we have not spoken about it or have that conversation before we got into marriage. And people just feel it's money, we got this. No, we all feel that we know how to do it. Then when the issues start coming in, we realize that we have a lot more learning to do. And I like this saying that says, one plants, another waters, then another one grants the increase. I like to use that analogy to explain how couples should work together in building their finances. See, the ultimate goal of every family, of every couple, is that they get to that desired place of wealth and abundance and well-being and everything that is good financially, right? But if you are not willing to work, if you are not willing to change or adjust or make changes to how you have been brought up or how you have been managing your money before you got into this marriage, you are going to have issues. And it's simple. So there is this dry tree. All leaves have been shed. There's absolutely nothing on it. It's dry. A lot of couples are in that state. They are clueless. They don't know how to go about it. They don't know what to do about their finances. But at the scent of water, and in your marriage, in your finances, what is the scent of water? The scent of water is knowledge. The scent of water is decision. The scent of water is nourishment. The scent of water is saying, let's do this. At the scent of water, that withered tree, that dry tree, that tree that has no leaf, that has just bland branches, can become an orchard. It can become a wine press. It can become absolutely anything that you can imagine it to be. But it starts with a decision. How do you make decisions? As a couple, you will have to make decisions every minute, every second. Because when you were single, you were making decisions just for yourself. Now you are married. You have to make decisions not just for yourself, but also for your spouse. And if you now start having children, you have to make decisions that empowers everybody involved. So how do you make decisions within your family? How do you make financial decisions? See, for me, the best way is sit down and have a conversation and say, this is our goals. Come up with your goals. What is it that you want to achieve in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? Where do you even see your family? How do you see your family? Where do you see your family 25 years down the road? What do you want to do? How do you build up to that point? These are decisions that you have to make. Because at every point in your marital journey, there are things that will impact on your finances. You have to be able to look ahead into the future and decide at what point are we going to need to make a major financial decision. When we get to that point, how are we going to make that decision? Because it's about building systems around everything that you do. There is a way to handle finances. There is a way that is unique to every family. You just need to find that uniqueness. What is that unique way that you have to make decisions, or what is that system that you have to build around your finances? For example, I use my own family every time I'm talking. I like to use my family as an example. Praise and I have we've evolved through many phases of decision making. There was a point where Praise was making all the decisions. We got to the point where we were making joint decisions. We got to a point where Praise says, you know what, I have a lot of things I'm focusing on right now. You take decision, whatever decision you take is fine by me. Then we are at a place where I take a decision and I tell Praise that, oh, I've taken the decision on our behalf. He takes a decision and he tells me, oh, I've taken the decision on our behalf. Recently, Praise purchased an asset on our behalf. and he just sent me the receipt. He took a picture of the receipt and said, "Oh, I did this on our behalf." We have come through different phases. We've evolved over the years, and every couple has to evolve. You have to evolve, and you have to understand what is our own process. Because I tell people, you see, this finance thing is not something that you call a one cap fits all. It never does. How it works for the Oludimu family, it cannot work for the Imokwedes family like that, and it certainly will not work for Praise for West family like that, because we come into this thing called marriage with history. We have come with from different backgrounds. We have different goals. What we want to achieve and when we want to achieve them are different. Oh, bottom line is we all want to be wealthy. We all want to be able to afford the good things of life. We all want to be able to, go on 2 vacations every year, whatever it is we want to do. We all want to do those things, but we want to do them at different times. So some people have that goal. Oh, a couple can start out today and say, in the next 5 years, we want to be able to go on an annual vacation every year. By the time we are 10, 15 years into marriage, we want to be able to do that twice a year. And another couple says, the first year of marriage, we want to be able to start going on an annual vacation. We all want to go on an annual vacation, but when we want to achieve that, it's different. So you have to build a system around it and start planning your resources to be able to support the lifestyle that you desire. Because if your decisions are not supporting your lifestyle or your desired lifestyle, you are going to have a shipwreck. So I tell couples, the best thing you can do for yourself is to work together as one. Work together as a team. Plan your finances in such a way that you are both working towards the same goal. There was a day I came into this understanding of division in marriage, and it talks about different vision. If the wife has a totally different vision from the husband, and the husband has a totally different vision from the wife, there is no way there's not going to be division in that home, not just at the financial level, but at every important level in that marriage. Is it parenting, finances, whatever it is that you're doing? At every point, if you do not have a convergent vision in your family, then there's going to be trouble. So one will go to the north and the other to the south. So what are the things that you need to do? You have to be grounded in your beliefs and in your values as a couple. What are your beliefs? What do we believe in this family? And what are our values in this family? Your values will guide your financial decisions. If integrity is important to you, you cannot do a business that will scam people out of their money. If integrity is important to you as a family, you will not give bribe as business people. If integrity is important to you, so you will have to come up with what your values are as a family and let that guide how you make money, how you manage money, and how you multiply your money. Then you have to learn to handle your emotions. You see, when people splurge, you find at the base of that splurging is some form of emotions, either positive or negative. Whether you have a positive emotional outburst at a particular point in time, or you have a negative emotional outburst, usually ends up in splurging. When you are happy, you want to spend. When you are sad, you want to spend, because when you are sad, you just want to make yourself feel happy, you go out and spend, especially if you have the money. So you want to look at what is the emotions, or what are the emotions that people have, or that the couples have at that point in time when decisions are being made. So if somebody feels that the other person is ruling over them or trampling over them in a decision-making process, there's going to be trouble. So you want to be able to manage the emotions of the other person when you are making decisions, because managing your emotions, managing your decision-making processes helps you to build resilience in your finances and in your relationship as a whole. Because resilience is important. In your children have to be resilient. You have to be resilient. You have to have grit. You have to have tenacity. You have to be able to push forward. So if you make one bad financial decision, it is your resilience, your grit, and your tenacity that will push you to keep going. Because I've seen people who make financial decisions. I've been in that space as well. I've done a few deals that went south and made me to crawl into my shell. So 3 years ago, 2018, I took a decision that hurt our finances. It was solely my decision, and it hurt our finances. And for the first time, I said to myself, it's okay. I can't always get it right. And I moved on. And I told my husband, I said, this happened. I did this, and did that, and this happened. And he said, it's okay, it's all right. I gave you my go ahead because he already did. He said, whatever decision you make, I'm okay with it. So automatically, he had already given me his go ahead. So it was for him, it was both our decisions because he already gave me the go ahead, a blank check to do whatever it is I want to do on behalf of the family. So you need to be able to, manage your emotions, manage your affirmations, manage your decision making, manage every aspect of your finances so that you can build resilience. If you cannot build resilience, you are going to keep having issues with your finances. And let me explain it. It's this simple. If you get to the point where you have made 2-3 decisions that didn't go right, and you make another decision, and this time around, okay, so let me put it this way. So for example, Tosin has been making all the decisions, and she has made 3 consecutive decisions that went south. And Praise comes and says, you are just not good. I'm going to start making the decisions going forward. We have created a crack in the wall that just gets bigger and bigger. Eventually, it collapses. The wall collapses. Then it looks as if everything starts collapsing from there. Why? Because one decision that looked like an insignificant decision had created a domino of events or of decisions. So because at times, when you think about how a woman thinks, at times, not all the time, when she feels that she is not being heard, she takes an unconscious decision. Usually a lot of us do it, but I think it's probably more common with the women. So we take this unconscious decision, and this unconscious decision starts determining other decisions that we'll make going forward. So we want to be able to manage emotions, able to manage our decision-making processes. Then you want to build on the principles of financial management, starting with your goals. What are our goals? Are you going to sit down and have that conversation? Because you think that, I've seen couples who think, for example, I'll use an example of a couple. The husband thinks that the goals that he has in his head for the family is the same goals that his wife has in her own head, because he feels we are that aligned. So he kept running with these goals. And at some point, the wife was like, I don't understand you. What's going on? You do this, you do that, you do that. Was that what we agreed on? And the husband said, oh, I thought that was what we agreed on. He said, we never had that conversation, because they never did have that conversation. The husband just feels because he has that goal or he has that vision, is the family's vision. You have to sit down and talk about it. So don't just assume for your spouse that the goals that you are working towards is the consensus goals. It's not always the case. It may not always be the case. So instead of just running, have that conversation. And let me tell you, if you start well in having those conversations, it will get to a point where you understand what your spouse will say about a decision, or what position your spouse is going to take about a decision that you're about to make. And so it helps you be guided in how you make those decisions. So what are the principles of financial management that you want to incorporate into your financial journey? You have to budget. You have to spend within your limits, within how much you have, and not overspend, not run yourself into debt. I've seen couples who run themselves aground. Why? Because they want to prove a point. Don't prove a point. Not to anybody. Prove a point only to yourself. Say to yourselves, we want to do this and we can achieve it. That's the only point you need to prove. You don't need to prove a point to me. You don't need to prove a point to your friends. You don't need to prove a point to your colleagues. You only need to prove a point to yourself. And the point is, I am better today than I was yesterday. I'm a better financial manager today than I was yesterday. I'm a better money maker today than I was yesterday. I'm a better me today than I was yesterday. We make better financial decisions today than we did yesterday. The only point that you need to prove is to yourselves. You are not in competition with anybody. So you want to look at your your budgeting. You want to look at how you plan for your finances before your money comes. How do you plan it? Do you have a plan for it? Recently, I did my wheel of money for the month of for the second quarter of this year. I've not done the third quarter. I did my wheel of money, and I was scoring myself on on 8 important aspects of my finances that I have chosen are important for my finances. And I realized that I had gone down in some areas. And the first thing I asked myself is, how did that happen? And I wanted to know, okay, if this happened because of whatever reasons it happened, how can I mitigate it in the future? Because I want to keep growing. I don't want to keep going back. So if I grow today, if I find out that there are things that I've been doing that has helped me to get to the point where I am financially, and all of a sudden I am low on those points, I want to build up again. So you have to have a review meeting, a time where you sit down with your spouse and you have an honest conversation about how each person is doing financially or how each person is managing the finances. You want to always have that open conversation, that honest conversation between the two of you. And when your children start growing, when they start having understanding, you want to bring them into that conversation because it's very important to be able to bring them in, let them understand how you make decisions. So my son says, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want this particular thing. And I says, go ask your dad. Because for me, I don't think it's something you needed. And I said, go ask your dad. I've given him the reason why I don't think he should have it. And he went to ask his dad, and his dad says, why not? And I asked his dad, oh, why did you say why not? Because in my own opinion, I think this is not what he should have right now. And he says, he needs it for this reason, this reason, this reason. I never thought of those reasons. And I said, okay, go ahead. Your daddy says you can have it. I concur. Then the day he comes and he says, I want to have this. And I said, there's no money for that. He says, oh, why? In fact, my daughter did something, used to do something that she doesn't do anymore. She would say, go to the ATM. And I'm like, oh, you don't just go to the ATM. You have to put money in your bank account for you to be able to put your card in and it gives you money. So there is a process to going to the ATM to withdraw money. So if I have not done that process and there's no money in my account, there is no way the ATM will give me cash. So now she has her own debit card. I opened an account for them. They have their debit cards. And my daughter has been on and on how she wants to go to the ATM and check how much she has in her account, if mommy has been spending her money or not. Why? Because she's beginning to understand the process. So there has to be a process around the things that you do, so that your children can see those processes. Your children can see those systems and be able to emulate you if they are good. So you don't want to come up with processes and systems that you are not proud to introduce to your children. You don't want to do that. So talk about financial management within the home. How are we going to handle the finances? Who is going to be the chief financial officer of the house? Because this is important. Who takes decisions about every little thing? I don't want to sit down and say, I want to buy tomatoes, let's take a decision. No. I don't want to change the pot and we have to sit down and say, let's take a decision. No. So there has to be somebody who is taking those everyday decisions that are not major. So what is major? You have to define what is major. What is a major financial decision that you have to make in the home? We want to change the car. It's a major financial decision. We want to buy a house. It's a major financial decision. We want to do investments. It's major. So you have to have a system around taking decisions about major decisions. For example, my example flew out of my head, but I'll go on with with the discussion. So you have to decide, okay, yeah. So for example, you have decided that a 500 pounds expense is a major expense. Then your spouse goes out and buys something of $550 and £550. You have every right to be angry that you were not consulted, but it's done. So how do we move forward? What am I trying to point out? Where am I moving towards? And it's the fact that there are times that your spouse would take a decision that does not align with the processes that you have put in place. It is not the time to castigate. It is not the time to point fingers. It's not the time. It's the time to say why, what, when, what not to do anymore. Because that is the only way you can move forward. That's the only way you can make progress. And you have to think about your spread, about your reach, about your personal development. Because in doing all of these things, if one person is learning about how to manage their finances better and the other person is not, one person is going to leave the other behind. And you want to grow together as a couple. You want to grow together as a family. As you are learning and you are, having that conversation. So I had this, every time I work with couples, one of the things I tell them to do is to read books together. So I tell them, you are starting with this book. So you go and read that book and you have a discussion around it. That way I help them to start conversations, especially if they don't know how to jumpstart financial conversation. So I say, don't rush it. Read chapter 1. When you're done reading chapter 1, jot down your learnings, have a discussion around those learnings, and use those discussions to make decisions. Because if you don't know how to, some people find it difficult to have conversations, especially when it comes to money. They find it very difficult. So you want to have a process that helps you to jumpstart conversations. Books are a very good place to start. Movies are another place. Movies are other good places to start. For example, when I'm watching Hallmark, that is what I use to relax, me as an individual. I don't have any other activity outside that I relax with. Anything outside of the house is work for me. So when I'm in front of the TV and I'm watching Hallmark movies, that's when I'm relaxing. And I can watch Hallmark movies and look at how the individuals or the couples are interacting or the parents are interacting. And I'm asking myself, what am I doing? How am I doing mine? Because I use that to learn. I use that to do that. Then if I have any discussion any discussion point or any conversation point, and I feel like, oh, it's Crystal I need to talk to about this, or it's Dabira I need to talk to about this, or it's Praise I need to talk to about this, I just go ahead and have the conversation. I'm not asking you to take a decision. I'm just trying to solidify the learnings that I have had. So it's good for us to develop. And recently I found out, because I'm in a credit card economy, same way you guys are in, I found out recently that my credit score went very high, up to 800, almost 840, which is absolutely fantastic. So I went back and I checked this period that my credit score went this high. What did I do? Because I needed to extract and harvest the knowledge so that I can keep it up. And I realized that during that period, as I was using my credit, I was only giving it a space of 2-3 days and I pay back. 2-3 days and I pay back. Then the period where my credit score dipped, I was giving it spaces of 1-2 weeks. And so I said to myself, going forward, my credit purchases will be repaid within 72 hours, not after that. So you want to be able to develop using everyday learnings to develop yourself and to establish yourself. If you are doing that with your spouse, all the better. In fact, fantastic. So nourish your financial life by having good conversation, by increasing your knowledge, by having good mentors, by keeping good company. By good company, I mean, one of my friends said that when she was getting married, her aunt called her and she said, do you want to remain married? And she said to her aunt, yes, now, I want to remain married. And the woman told her, if you want to remain married, keep company of people who want to remain married. So if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have a good financial story as a couple, look for couples who want the same thing and work together. I've seen couples who will sit down and all they are talking about is their financial lives, is their social life. They are talking about everything because that is their home company. Those are the people, they have the same ideologies. They are moving in the same direction. So keep good company. Don't keep people who don't be in the company of couples who just feel we can borrow to do parties. And if that is not your values, you are in the wrong company. If you don't know what you are doing and you want to start doing it right, get good mentors. In 2011, my husband and I took a decision to turn our financial lives around because every month we were zeroing out. And we found ourselves this amazing guy who became our mentor. And from there, we were able to build up and start doing things by ourselves. Our finances took a turn. In fact, it was an amazing turn. It was 180 degrees. It took an amazing turn. So if you don't know what to do, start with nourishing each other, nourishing your relationship. Because you are not going to just all of a sudden start out and start talking finances and start and being in sync, or you have to nourish each other, nourish your relationship, nourish the other person, nourish the things that you value. Love the company of each other. Bring your children into that conversation. Increase your knowledge. Read books. Go online. Read articles that people have written. Even if it is papers that people have written about different things, read about it. Improve your knowledge. Knowledge is power, they say. But take that knowledge a notch higher and start applying the knowledge. You see, a lot of people go for events like this and they gather enough knowledge, but they keep it wherever they drop it when they get home. And that's all they ever do with it. Knowledge. Knowledge gained, not used. So don't go away from this meeting today with all the knowledge that they are going to get and just go dump it somewhere. Go and apply immediately and ask yourself, how can I apply this knowledge that I've learned? Who is going to mentor me? Who is going to coach me? I need to look for the company of like-minded people who are going to go with us on this journey. And don't just go ahead and say, oh, is this couple we are going to work with, or those couples we are going to work with? Decide with your spouse. Okay, so we have all these friends. Which one of them do we think, or which couples among them do we think are likely going in the same direction? Just call them over, have drinks with them, and start up a conversation, and have a feel of them in the direction that you are trying to go to. I see if they are in sync with you in that direction, and tell them what you have in mind. Do this for yourself, do this for your family, do this for your children, do this for the generations that you are starting up. Your children's children are going to say thank you to you if you get it right. Because if you get it right, your children will get it right, and your children's children will get it right. Why? Because you can pass those values down from one generation to the other. Wealth in the home is built through collaborative effort. We are in an environment where one person cannot do it alone. So we need to understand that we are working as a team. We need to understand that we are in a collaborative effort. It's not my money, your money, it's our money. Because that's the way you can grow faster. He said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in the company of others. Your wife, your husband is your company. So work together as one and create the right environment. The right environment is key. If you're always fighting or castigating each other or finding fault with each other, there's no way you will walk this path successfully. And you must be flexible. Your inability to change will deprive you of the great life that you desire. It will deprive you of the good things that are in stock for you. If your inability to change or to be flexible will take a lot from you. And at times, it's never a case of it's a done deal, it's cast in stone. It's never cast in stone. You can always rewrite it. You can always rewrite history. You can always rewrite your journey. You can always rewrite your story. So don't think that, oh, I've come this far, there's nothing else I can do. You can decide this minute that you are going to change. We changed our story in 2011, 5 years into our marriage. We are still on that journey. We are not there yet, but we are closer than we were before. So feed your financial life, gain knowledge, apply those knowledge, use it, work together, create time to work your finances, create time. Everything borders around time. Whatever you pay attention to, attention is time. Whatever you pay attention to will blossom, it will bloom, it will grow, it will spread. So if you are going to work together, decide you want to work together and create time for it. The most important aspect of your financial life is every aspect of your financial life. There is no aspect of your financial life that is not important. Every aspect of it is important. So get the right support so that you can grow. Get the right support, get the right company, get the right people, get the right coaches, get the right mentors so that you can grow. I hope I've been able to push you further and help you
So
go
good.
in the direction.
Can you see us, TPF? With your slide here.
Well
I
done.
can see you.
Amazing. Well
I can
done.
see Boku. Thank you very much. I can see you.
Thank you very much, TPF. I mean, you've scattered it all, and I'm sure, and I'm sure a lot of us, whether things we knew before and things that we are just getting to know, they've all come jamming in our heads. I have, like, during Diman's session, I also had a lot of learnings that I took down. The first thing that struck me is that the family is the first school of finance, money 101.
Yeah.
And I know that I know that as our children were growing up, we have grown children as well. Our oldest is 17. We had to teach them, finances, because one of the things that TPS said that also struck me is the fact that when you don't teach your children financial literacy, whatever it is that you have worked for, they may end up frustrating it. And growing up, then back in Benin, I know some people in the street where I grew up that they'll say their children sold the houses that the parents had worked for.
Yeah.
So this is real life. It's not trying to pad it up. It is real life. So thank you very much. I've learned so much. Family is the first school of money, and it's money 101. And then something again that you said struck me, that money issues is not just relegated to either the rich or the poor. Rich people have money issues, poor people have money issues.
Yeah.
Rich people have marriage issues, poor people have marriage issues. And it's really, really intriguing that you said 7 out of the richest 10 people in the world are divorced.
They are.
Yeah. So thank you. I don't know if you have questions in the chat room already, so you can please begin to send in your questions. TPF is still here. She's going to answer the questions for us. But let me give the opportunity to my colleagues, Jackie and Bokun. Bokun, I'm sure you have words this time around.
Well, when I said I didn't have words, because when there's so much happening and you don't know,
I know.
But this is how I brought out my notes. It's CPF, that's a professor talking, guys.
I'm telling you,
if you've not
Gentish was just rolling them out.
Yes. So
Thank you.
yes, but I would just want to give the opportunity to everyone who's listening. Please send in your questions. This is the opportunity, your time to ask those questions. Somebody might be asking, joint account, is it good? Is it that question is so common that a lot of times people say, is it good? Is it mandatory? Should we not? Oh, what about if my husband is a spendthrift and I'm the saver? Things like that. So this is the time for you to please ask your questions. Or families that they've had financial issues and they're not getting. TPF is a coach that can help you with your family finance. Did you listen to the profile? It's got so much going on. So let's send in our questions and let's see what questions we've got on. Jackie, do you just have anything to say while I wait for questions?
Amazing. It's just been an amazing night, and I'm happy that I can see the feedback in the chat. TPF, well done. Thank you. It's always nice to hear you. You always bring a very practical perspective, and I love that. I already want to ask a question, which I'm sure a lot of people want to know is, that transition that you and PF made from, okay, we make the decisions together, and then okay, it's fine, you can make it, and just let me know. And then he makes say, how can we really begin? How can we get into that place? What are the maybe boxes to be ticked for you to be able to do that as a couple?
Okay, so first let me say that it was not, oh, we sat down and at every point we say, this is the phase we are walking into. We just find out that, as we progressed on the journey, we transitioned into that. And when it became obvious, we will have the conversation around it. When it became obvious to the two of us that we have transitioned again, so it's always good to have that conversation to say, okay, so for me, where I would say start from is it has to be intentional at the beginning. It's a decision you have to make to say that, okay, so we are at this point in our financial journey. Are we good with it? Are we okay with it? Or do we need to change something? I remember in 2011, Chris sat me down and said, this can't continue. We cannot be resetting to zero at the end of every month. We make the money, but we spend it. And we've been doing that before we even got married. So we just sort of went into marriage with that trend. And so in 2011, Praise took a decision by himself to say, this has to stop. And he called me and we had a conversation. And we got a mentor who guided us into that process of, re-evaluating our finances and getting knowledge on the things that we needed to get knowledge on, how to practically turn those knowledge into things that, steps that we can take. Okay? Because people read books. For example, I love the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. There is nobody in my life I would coach that would not read that book. Because I believe that's the foundation of everything finance, present day finance. So that for me is a conversation starter for anybody, any couple. Sit down, read The Richest Man in Babylon, one chapter every week. Have a conversation around it. It's that simple. In the process of having that conversation, you start making decisions. But if you cannot have conversations, practical conversations as a couple, you're not going to be able to make decisions. So it starts with good conversation. And good conversations don't just jump on you. There has to be a starter. There has to be a place where you start from. So I say, read an article, read a book, and share with your spouse and say, oh, I read this about this today, in a normal conversation or in a normal conversational setting. Or you can decide, we want to be intentional about this. We will read a book. We will read an article together. And if you feel your spouse is not going to be on board with you, it's not a problem. Don't force it. Start by yourself. I remember I was listening to Fumi. I've forgotten her surname. She said she consciously decided she was going to be the new ancestor of our family. And she was basically talking about their finances. And she said at the point when she started, her husband was not on board. So they will call her, she was in the UK at that point. They will call her, they were in the UK, the husband and the wife. And people, her friends in Nigeria will call her and say, there's an apartment building, people are buying for investment. Do you want to buy? She will talk to her husband. Her husband is saying, I don't want investment in Nigeria. She will go ahead and buy. She will put tenants there. She said she did the first, second, and third one. Then her husband saw that this lady is actually really gradually increasing and moving forward, moving ahead without her. He sat her down and said, so what do we do? And that was how they started. By the time their kids were turning 18, their first son turned 18, they sat him down and said, opened up the computer and showed him the Excel sheet of their finances, the assets they have, their liabilities, where they have what they do, and they took him through the process of how they take financial decisions. When the second child became 18, turned 18, they did the same thing. So as a family, every month or every quarter, I can't remember, they sit down and have these financial conversations. So when their sons were getting married, when the first one was going to introduce the babe to the family, it was like a board meeting. They invited the lady to dinner. They didn't know much about her. So it was for them a time to get to know her and to know what she's bringing on board. The lady is not any other person as well. She was a lawyer. right? So for them, it was good that they were having a lawyer in the families that was going to handle their legal affairs and all of those things. So by the time dinner was over, the next day, the babe just called the guy and said, I can't marry into your family. You guys are just weirdos. So because they already have a system, how things run. So if you are going to marry into that family, you are going to marry into that system. So it's a plug and play. They already have the way their finances run. So for any lady that was going to be married into that family, must be willing to enter into a plug and play family. So if you are not willing to enter into a plug and play, and that is why it is important to build processes and systems such that if it is working, whoever is going to come into that family is already aware and is willing to work with you. So it's a conversation that you have to sit down and be intentional about at the initial stage. You cannot just decide by yourself. Sit down with your spouse. In fact, make popcorn, sit in front of a TV, be watching movie, and just be having that conversation. It does not have to be serious. If it's serious, then emotion starts flying. Let it be one serious discussion, right? And if you feel that home environment might not work because emotions might fly, take him or her out for a beautiful dinner and set the environment. That's what is important. It has to be a good environment where conversations can flow naturally and you can both have your say and make a decision for your family.
Thank you so
Amazing.
much. Yeah, that was really, really good. Thank you. Just because we are at the institute as FSC generally, Family Systems Engineering, we break a lot of norms. We break beliefs that are no longer serving us. We don't believe that. You hold on to something that no longer produces the result that you need, and then to produce the behavior and eventually the result that would get you to where you want to go. So for everyone watching, I want you to address something that and what we stand for and how we stand for it. A lot of times, even for me, when I was going to get married, there's this notion that we have as women that the man has to be the ATM. People say ATM, people use such words. Can you just, help address this point and let people see it differently and what we stand for, what we believe at the, as FSC? What's our take on this belief that, and you see that from this same belief, a lot of girls grow up knowing that their mothers depended on their fathers and thought that everything had to be finances, the man must earn more and this and it's being carried on from generation to generation and just moving on. So I just wanted to address that because I don't think there's any questions just yet, but I think we could just address it and see if we can close on that because we're still going to come back tomorrow and yeah.
Okay, so there is this notion of my money is my money, his money is our money, and stuff like that. And for us, it's not my money, my money, my money, is money our money. I think the best way to put it, our ideology is we are a team and we work as that. We do not see Tosin or we see praise. When you see Tosin, you have seen praise. And when you see praise, you've seen Tosin. So if you have an event, for example, let me deviate from finance and use this analogy. If you have an event, you will most likely not see my husband there, but you will see me. If you have seen me, you have seen the praise for our family. Take it as that. So when it comes to finances, women, men, there are men who believe that their money is their money. Whatever they want to give you is what they will give you. You too, you make your own money. I was talking to a man yesterday on my way home. I took a Lyft, the other form of Uber, on my way home at about 10:30 yesterday night. And I got talking with the driver. And he says, he has not bought a house yet. And I said, why? He said he doesn't think he qualifies for a mortgage. I said, why do you think you don't qualify for a mortgage? So I started taking him through the mortgage process as a licensed mortgage specialist. I started taking him through the mortgage process. And I said, so if you sit with me as a mortgage specialist, I would say that based on this discussion that we have had, you would qualify for a mortgage. He said, yes, that for him, that is a new knowledge because he has always thought this mortgage thing is one big thing. So I said, how can you afford a down payment? 220% of whatever amount the property is what you have to put down as down payment. And he says, oh, he will provide half and his wife will provide half. And I said, good. Does your wife agree with this? Oh, he said, we have had that conversation and she's cool with it. He said, for example, we said, let's even look for $100,000. He said, my wife has given me $50,000. I have not even brought my own. And I said, see, it's not a competition. If your wife has brought $50,000 and you don't think you can make up the $50,000, can you have this conversation with your wife and say, if you have more, can you put it down? And if, I don't know how you people do your finances in your home, but whatever way it is, you know how to balance it out later on. So I told him, I don't think you should look at it as a competition of your wife has dropped her own or you have not dropped yours. So look at it as we are doing it together. Because if you think, oh, it's just the man that will do it in this country, you will carry a load that will weigh you down. At the end of the day, you probably pass away and go to the other side of the other side of eternity, and life continues. So don't be a macho man and say, I'm the head of the family. I have to provide. There are some men who believe that they have to be in that space of provider. God created the woman as a help that is meet for you. So allow her to be your helpmate. Women, be helpmates to your spouses. Men, you are not macho. You are not El Shaddai. Because Bridget will say that, Reverend Sam used to say, if you think that you are El Shaddai, you shall die. Okay, so you are not El Shaddai. You are not a macho man. And you are not an alpha female. So if you think, oh, I don't need a man, even if you are in marriage, I think you need to rethink it. That's not what we stand for. It's about, Yoruba people will say, in my dialect, they will say that the left hand washes the right hand and the right hand washes the left hand. That is how the hand becomes clean. We don't want to know which one washes what. Let's just wash it. Let's live together as a couple and work things together. Because if you leave the load to one person, you probably will kill the donkey. So we don't want the donkey to die. Neither do we want the load that the donkey is carrying to, fall off. But whichever way is synergy. Synergize as a couple. How do you synergize? Sit down and have that conversation. Where are we going? What are our plans? What are we planning for 10, 15, 25, 30, 40 years? How are we going to pay the students' school fees? One day my husband said, let's have this conversation about university. The kids are going to start going to university in another 5 years. So let's have this conversation. We started having that conversation. And so one day, when I talked about the day he showed me a receipt, he said, so I have bought this on behalf of the family. So I'm thinking when in 5 years' time, we liquidate it and we use it to pay for the children's school fees. It's a conversation. See, he has taken a decision that I know he has taken in good faith for the family. Woman, do the same. I know a woman that used to tell me, she's very close to me. She's family, in short. She used to tell me that our money is our money. Our husband's money is their money. As fate would have it, she moved to another country. Her husband was not there. Then things started going lopsided for her husband. And she had to step in and do everything. She pays the mortgage, she buys clothes for the kids. She took all the financial costs, right, of the family. Eventually, one day she said, Tosin, you've always said it. We need to work together. Said if I had been helping this man all the while, his business would not have gone, because she understands the business. It's something she could have done with him. So now she realizes that she needs to work, more closely with her husband. The ideology is we are a team and we have to remain so. We have to work towards being that. If the other person now chooses not to work with you as a team, don't use that as an excuse. Go ahead and start running the vision alone. Eventually, I believe, the other person will come around.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, TPF. We know that we've taken a lot of your time, and we're just gonna let you go. Any last words for TPF, guys? Please send us some love in the chat box. Let us see that we appreciate that comment, and then we can get it back and get out to other ones and everything. You know how much it takes for us to have TPF for an hour, guys? You know how much it costs?
Hmm.
and she doesn't take some kind of currencies. Or she has her own
Exactly.
special currency, her own
Exactly.
financial, and she's a woman of many hats. She can tell you about how to get. So those of you that live in a mortgage advisor, no, too much. And I
Yeah, I
said,
work as a financial advisor and a mortgage specialist.
you
Oh,
see, we are saying you have
wow.
the right. You see, so we'll be sharing contacts of how you can read TPF as well. If you've registered, you will get it. But if you've not, go and register.
Go and register.
Register. Yeah, make sure you register so we can share more and more. So we'll let you go, TPF. I don't know if Uwa or Jackie's got anything to just for TPF while we allow her go backstage. Anything?
She's
Okay.
covered everything. Thank you. Just to say
Yes,
thank you
thank
once
you.
again.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Namaste.
And,
Thank you so much, TPF. We'll catch you. Thank
all
you.
right.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Okay, guys, tomorrow. Now, let's see what has shifted for you. Comments. Let's see what is that. Use one word to describe today. One word. One word. After Uwa, do you have any? You said I didn't have words, so help us. One word, just one word. What do you?
It's been an amazing first day. Dima came to set the whole place on fire, and then TPF came and added fuel. So so the whole place is blazing. A whole lot of new knowledge and reinforced knowledge, and of course, as we were jotting down points, I was jotting down action point for myself and my family. So I wrote down. I said, okay, so let's read. I've read The Richest Man in Babylon, but I know TPF said something about reading it as a family, and I've jotted down that okay, one action point for me. As a family, we're going to read The Richest Man in Babylon because I don't even have babies anymore. My oldest is almost 18 and my youngest is 10 plus. So they can all understand. I mean, this summit is not going to leave us the same. We are going to shift to the next level, both in our parenting style and in our finances. I mean, we need to make this money and leave generational wealth. So it's
Yeah.
been an amazing first day. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really good. People are also in the comments and people are saying thank you. If TPF can see him, if not, we'll pass this over to her. They're saying thank you, TPF. Bridget said thank you, TPF, my financial coach of life. Adetola is saying thank you, Mom. Adams is this money that Adams is sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe said this is profound.
Yeah.
And I don't want to mispronounce it.
Just say Ere.
Ire just said, this is so enlightening. Thank you, Mom. Kolawole said, impacting. So people have been saying, Jackie, words that you want to describe today.
Insightful, empowering, I think that Dima came to really just empower parents, to just shake off whatever was not right, just and sincerely just following those three things you talked about, love, belonging, and significance. If you play by those rules, we will do better. And so that's something I've always known, but again, it came to remind me. I love the 3 hours as well, sincerely, and that's what we need to practice. But even going on to TPF session, of course, that was quite insightful. Even I got quite a lot of tips, to even take further. Of course, like Uaz just said, our families are not going to remain the same. And this is why the FSC exists. This is why we exist. This is why we have a UK chapter. We have, the whole body itself. This is why we're recruiting and asking more people to join the FSC, the Family Systems Engineering, because this is what needs to happen to families around the world. We keep learning, we keep getting better so that we can have the family that would change the world and give us the world that we need. I love it. I really love it. We're going to read Richest Man in Babylon as well, even in my family. I've read the summary before, but I think I'm going to do a chapter by chapter one, like, TPF said.
Yes.
Someone has also already asked for the parenting link that Dima talked about, so we would need to send that as well, because someone has my DM saying, what about the parenting link that Dima talked about, the parenting assessment that Dima talked about? So I think that's something we're going to put across. If you didn't register and you're watching us, I think you should go and register so that you can be on our list and we can send you all of these things. You would find them so useful.
Yes.
And these things are things we actually charge a fee for. So if you're here, you are lucky. So please make sure you sign up so that we have you on our database and we can share the info with you. But for me, it's been a great night. I'm so happy. And I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jackie. So you heard, register, but don't just register. Get all your people on. We are still
Mm.
back here tomorrow, and we're starting
Yes,
at 6. And
yes,
guess what? Tomorrow, I mean tomorrow, you just don't want to miss tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're dealing with conflict.
mm,
Is there any good in conflict? You just want to come and learn. And the friend of the house that is coming for tomorrow's conflict. If I'm not. It's a good thing I'm not the one reading his profile, because his profile alone will scare you, because he has dealt with conflict. Sometimes I look at him, because I know him, and I say, "Are you still human?" Because the way he talks about, dealing with conflict and people. So tomorrow you want to be here 6 p.m. If you've registered, if you've not registered, register so you can get the link. You only get the link when you register to join us. And then again, tomorrow evening, when we're wrapping up, we're going to be talking about culture and communication and our very own. You have heard TPF. Wait until you hear PF himself. So make sure you're here tomorrow. Get people to register. Someone is saying, could you please share the registration link? Okay, I will do that. I will share the registration. Has anybody got the registration link that they can share?
yeah.
I
I'm
will.
working on doing that now.
Okay, thank you so much, Jackie. So we'll share the registration link for you. So because the link for today is not the link for tomorrow, but if you join in, all the questions you're asking, the links we're going to share, how to contact all our speakers, would send everything by email. So you get all this information, how to reach out to all the professionals. So for those who are having concerns about finances, or those who had a lot of parenting questions that have still not been answered, remember Dima said, get a parenting coach. So we would give
Yeah.
you links and how to reach out to all our professionals, those who can help out in whatever area that you need help with. So you want to make sure you're on board. You want to make sure you've got your email address. And this is the very first of many to come. We're not joking. We're not here. We are on the move, and we are going to be, it is one family per time. And guess what? When we impact the family, we are impacting our streets. When we impact our street, we're impacting our city. When we impact our city, we're impacting the nation. When we impact the nation, the country. From the country to the continent, and of course, eventually, we're going to be impacting our world. That's where it starts from. So that's why this is all about. So get all the help you can. You can't do it alone. You think what our parents, the thing is, what our parents faced is totally different. There was no mobile phones, there were nothing, no, TikTok, Instagram in those days. So you can't use those things they taught you, because they had knowledge, they had no experience about it. So it's good that we're living in today's world. Don't be a Nokia 3310 in when everybody's going this thing. It won't work. That's the truth. Dr. Saturday doesn't have access to 4G, not to talk of how many other G's that are coming. So anyway,
4G is too ambitious, Boku.
eh?
I think 4G for Nokia 3310 is so ambitious. They're putting it so high.
So and yes, so we're meeting again tomorrow, and we are wrapping up and kind of have come to the end for today. We hope you've had a wonderful time, and hoping to see you. Over to you, Jackie and Uwa. Let's just have last word. Let me see if I can get the link across for registration.
I've just tried to put it there, but maybe I don't know what's wrong, but it's just I've typed it in the chats here. I can see on my
Yeah,
phone, but if you
okay.
can put it in again, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I will.
No, I just want to say everyone should come tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be, double laser, like, boom, boom, boom. And I really mean that, because if you have seen how much,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that you guys are giving us feedback. I'm happy that you found this so powerful. I've had people, friends even chat me up. So it's great that you've enjoyed today, but today is going to be double sword. Like I said, it's going to be great, and it's going to be empowering. It would help you do better, so
Yeah.
that even the kids that we are raising, they see the example of what a great marriage, a great family should look like. And that's what this is about. So, yes, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, and thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye,
Thanks,
everyone. Buckle.
everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. See you tomorrow.